Hello everyone. The reason it's a shorter stream today is David has PT. I just dropped him off, but I kind of need to get him home soon after so he can get homework done. He's behind on his math. He's got a packet that needs to be finished tomorrow. It needs to be turned in with the textbook tomorrow. And so we need to get him finished on that. And he says he's only done a little bit on the packet. I guess the teacher told the class it took him 5 hours as he sat there and studied and everything else. And so David thinks he's going to take less than 5 hours. And it's going to be real quick is what he's thinking. And then he's got his seminary to work on too that I'm kind of frustrated with him about. So, and I talked to my mom, and because part of the reason he's trying to hurry is to go work with mom, and she agreed that he needs to do at least today's seminary assignment before going into work. So that's why today's stream's going to be a bit shorter than usual. When people get on, I will talk the acts of awareness and go from there. Just because I'd like to do it if we'll see. I'm kind of suspicious that Jen won't get on at all. I do not know if Steph will. If we wait for a while and neither of them get on, I may just say it, leave it here for it to be watched later. And hopefully they'll watch it. I know Jen will, but whether Steph will get a chance or not. She watches so many people's that I don't know. So we will see. Yeah. Because there's also something else I wanted to tell Steph. So there's two things one thing that I just want to share with everyone. One thing I want to share with Steph. That was weird. Because it didn't even feel like I was going to yawn, and it only ended up a half a yawn. And then if we want, we can talk some more information that's come out about the coronavirus too. So, we got lots of stuff to go ahead and talk about. And not a long stream. There's a couple of things with yesterday's stream. I did do some research, and some of the things I have found out. One, Discord had literally just yesterday they did an update. And even after I turned off the stream, off the YouTube stream, they still had some issues. So it is very possible that it was not the stream causing the issues, and it's something else with Discord, because From what I heard, they continued to have issues, to have to figure some stuff out after I got off the string and after I even wasn't in the thing anymore. So there's that. The coronavirus. They are now highly suspecting that it was actually, so a cold hit the Sundance Film Festival, a really bad cold, and that's kind of what I was looking at, what I pulled up. A lot of people came down with a cold with all the signs of coronavirus, and if I remember reading right, are now testing positive for the antibodies. And that cold was in January, February. So, and Sundance Film Festival is Utah. Just making that clear. So it is very possible that actually it was related to what went around here in January, February. It's also very possible that we had two different strains going around, two different things going around. That one was a flu and one was coronavirus. I wonder with this doctor if he ever ran the testing for flu on his patients. Because as I said, my doctor actually tested a few of his patients for flu when that was going around, and they were negative. Like, he checked it, tested for everything we knew of at that time, and they were negative for those things. So it's possible that there were actually two separate things going around. I mean, that happens every winter. That there's more than one strain of the flu there, etc., etc. So it is possible that he had a whole bunch come in sick and just assumed it was the flu, didn't run any tests or anything, because he assumed it was the flu, or he had ran some tests and they had come back positive for the flu. And so when everyone insisted that they had the that bad flu was the cold, some of them insisted on testing and was found to have been to not have the coronavirus antibodies. He automatically assumed and insisted that no, this is the same thing everyone had, not knowing that other doctors had ran the flu tests because of the condition of their patients and the health risks of their patients and stuff, and had come back with, we have no clue what this is. It's a really bad upper respiratory something or other, and we don't know what to say about it. And I remember my doctor told me that was exactly what he'd been told about it, and he said keep an eye out. If I remember right, at the time he warned us to keep an eye out for signs of pneumonia with it, related to it, because some of them were coming down with it. So it is possible that that different things hit at different times. Or hit even at the same time. But if they are right that Sundance Film Festival had it, it's guaranteed that it ran the ranks of Utah at least a decent amount before there was any testing available and before they were really watching. It's just, that's the way Utah is. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, not as, if it didn't hit till January, February, and here's the other thing. I don't know that we would have had as few cases in Cache Valley. The other thing is something has happened in Cache Valley compared to the rest of Utah. And that's another thing we need to take into consideration. Utah hasn't been as hard hit as other places. I'm going to be straight up with that. But at the same time, Cache Valley has been almost virtually untouched. We have a total of 34 cases that have been diagnosed. 34 cases. That's not... It makes no sense. Because everywhere else in Utah was having a lot more. And we have two cheese processing, which are essential businesses. We have JBS, which is an essential business. We have 2 or 3 medical supply companies, which are essential businesses. So we have thousands and thousands of workers coming from Ogden, coming from Idaho, all coming into the valley on a daily basis. And most of them working in conditions that would expose them to each other. That if one person came down with it, everyone else would. With what it's shown so far. So either one, the cases in Utah that have been shown are not in the, as it's either evolved and become less virulent, meaning less contagious, and they're able to, and so you can be around someone and not get it, not have as high of a chance of getting it, which would actually mean even in the same household you'd reduce your chance of getting it, because I'm sorry, but being together for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, if with no protections in between, and eating at the same tables, nothing protecting, I hate to say it, things like that, they just, no. If it doesn't spread in the conditions that are in some of those plants, let's just talk JBS. They have both the outside, the kill floor area, and they have the cooler areas. So they have one area that gets warm, really warm, depending on the weather, yes, but was getting warmer and warmer. And they have one area that, or more other areas that are cold. So and then their lunchroom and stuff is normal, air conditioned and whatever, but not cold, etc. So, plus you have people even more. So to add to that, then you have people coming and going into warm and cool, whether either from really cold to warm to then outside hot at times, or from hot outside to cool to hot to cool. So one thing I've seen is at JBS, they seem to have colds run rampant there more frequently than they ever did in many of the other places that I've known people working in. So, but my dad experienced a similar thing when he worked in a place, but not as bad, when he worked in a place where he was maintenance or whatever. He didn't get it as bad while he was maintenance, but during he was for a year or two just a regular worker, and they kept him in the fridge area, which was even warmer than the freezer area Brett's in. And during that time, he did get sick more often. But when he was in maintenance, he was fine because he was never in the freezer area all the time. But I could see if you're working in a freezer most of the time, and honestly, even when they cut, Bratz is completely in the freezer, and they usually have a number of codes and whatever run their course in that freezer every year. Usually not as bad as the one that went through in January, but it does go through. And then you've got the ones then you've got the ones that are in the cooler processing the meat, but from my understanding, it's a little bit cooler than a regular cooler. I'm not sure there. And then you've got your maintenance people that go between the coolers and the freezers and the everything. And then you've got your people who kill floor that's outside or in the warm area. I've heard that area is really warm to hot in JBS. So you put all those areas together, and they all go into the same lunchroom actually by then they had two. But all of the kill floor and the people from the kill and from the freezer would both go into the lunchroom, the same lunchroom, I think, and even then, that's still sometimes past people from Fab going to lunch as they were coming out of lunch, things like that. So there is that. So I would think, just knowing the experience of previous years and whatever, that if it had hit Cache Valley, or it would have run rampant through there. Another thing to be aware of is every other JBS plant has shut down from it for at least some time. But in January, February, there was a time when there were a lot of people calling in sick. I mean, Brett said his department was extremely short-handed. There were often during January and February, I think he said frequently something like 5 people. I'd have to go watch the stream, but something like 5 different people absent at a time. And usually they can manage 2 different people. Sometimes they can get away with 3, but when they were down to 5, they were busting their butts to try to stay going. And as soon as the people were slightly feeling good, they'd come back in. I mean, Brett was kind of bad, was getting sicker and sicker. I think he actually started getting sick Thursday night, because but I know by Friday night he was bad. He spent Friday afternoon, evening. He spent all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and all day Monday recovering. Tuesday, he forced himself to get up and go to work. He still wasn't fully recovered, but he forced himself to get up and go to work, and by Tuesday afternoon, evening, he was starting to get better. And that was common in his area at the time, as people were going to work just because they were good enough to get out of bed and not throw up with this one it wasn't throwing up, but they weren't so bad that they absolutely couldn't go into work. And so knowing that, and knowing the way that they do things there, I don't know how, and that's one of the essential businesses that didn't get shut down. So how do we only have 30 cases in all of Utah? Not all of Utah, all of Cache Valley, with that many essential businesses? I can't, there's no explanation, let's put it that way. It just doesn't add up. There should, period, be more cases. So then you get into reporting, and once everything was really being pushed, what happened? As everywhere else was ramping up, they seemed to be missing. The number of cases, it was something had happened, and the number of cases disappeared. So, but it would make sense if it had run the course earlier. So there's that. Now, since no one's on and we're getting ready to head home, I am going to, and that's some of the things that other doctors are saying, because we have Gosners and Schreiber's, which are both cheese companies. In fact, so some of these companies have branches elsewhere, but I don't think you can, any of the cheese you can buy in Cache Valley at least, every single brand came from one of those two businesses. Tillamook, Cache Valley, let's see, what are some other brands? Smith's, what are some other brands of cheese you can get around here? Almost, you can't think?
Not really.
I can't think of a...
Gosner's, so.
Yeah, Gosner's cheese. I can't think of a brand of cheese that I have not found out is not produced in one of those two factories.
I mean, at the, whatchamacallit market, people bring cheese.
Okay, the farmer's market, you're right. Obviously...
But that's individually made, so it's not a company, so it doesn't count. I guess technically
it does,
it is
and it is a company, but at the same time, it's not the major...
It's not a huge company with 3 million people. Not literally, of course.
But, so, and I think most of the cheese for a lot of Utah, Idaho, and surrounding areas is produced by one of these two companies. I know for at least a huge area, it all comes from Logan.
I mean, and like obviously, like Walmart, they get like stuff shipped in,
but even
and like other stuff.
Walmart's is produced in one of these two.
Not all of their cheeses, is what I mean.
Yeah, it is.
Not all.
Yeah, it is.
Really? I don't think so.
And then they take it to the Walmart, whatever you call it, storehouse in Clinton or whatever, and then they ship it from there to all the Walmart stores.
Okay.
And that's why I'm like, so you can imagine the size of companies they have. The amount of employees. They each run non-stop shifts. So one shift leaves as another shift arrives. They do not shut down. They run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And especially right now, because it is extremely
even before
essential.
Right now.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm meaning, like, in the context of right now, it is extremely important.
Yeah. You can go after the purple things if you want. So, there are all of those people are around each other. So, we should have had, there's no reason there's only 34 cases in Utah. Or, I mean, in Cache Valley. There's absolutely no reason there's only 34 cases in Utah.
34 have shown symptoms, but there are probably a lot more.
Well, so and as I was telling the stream, they are now highly suspecting it was in Sundance.
A what?
Sundance was in end of January, beginning of February, the Sundance Film Festival. And there was a cold flu sickness that ran rampant through there. So chances are that when we got in January,
the one that wrecked us?
Yeah. Was that, which if that was the case, it would make sense that there's only 34 cases now. Because most of the valley already had it before they did anything else. And I think I remember hearing that our hospitals were getting wrecked.
Yeah, they were.
By that.
Because they didn't know what to do with it. And then there were so many cases.
Yeah, there were so many cases, and it wasn't testing out positive for anything.
I think that was the first time I ever heard. Obviously, I'm only 16 and I'm really young, but that's the only time I've ever heard that a school is like, yeah, if you're sick, stay home for 3 weeks.
And his school was basically saying, we don't know what this cold is. So if you're sick, if you have any signs of this sickness, stay home.
And I remember that because I had them, and I had to stay home, and I hated it.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't testing positive for anything. That was what was really frustrating, and they were getting wrecked, and they were going, crap, what are we going to do if we've got this going around and the coronavirus going around? Because coronavirus isn't here yet. And so this can't be coronavirus. It's got to be some flu that we're not able to test for. And that's literally what they were saying. Is we don't know what this virus is. This is some unknown virus that's wrecking our community. And that's what they were saying in January and February here in Cache Valley. And that, I think, is why a lot of doctors, especially with the low cases now, are starting to say, did we have the coronavirus already run its course in Cache Valley? And so really, yes, we needed to learn the lessons and start wearing masks and everything so that maybe we can prevent a repeat of this. And we do need to treat it as though it wasn't until we know for sure it was. And when it first started, even when they first started suspecting, there wasn't enough. I don't think the antibody testings were even available.
I don't think so.
They were just talking about it, and they were saying, it'll be interesting to see what happens once we have the tests available. So, we'll see what happens then. Now, on to the other thing that I wanted to share with everyone. And this is a big one, kind of bigger and more important to me. It is available on the in my Discord channel that I put in the link on the video we talked about it. I know Steph's part of that group. I don't believe Jen is yet, but it's available there, and you can watch. I randomly they're going for 300,000. And I put 300. Hopefully we are going to get a lot more than 300. I will update it. If we are getting close, or depending on how we're doing, I will update it. But it would be really nice if we could get more people to join in. I would love to start having a lot more people who are Wizards Unite players start reporting in, and really be able to show the world what can happen as Wizards Unite players combine together to help what is considered people with what is considered a rare disease. So, and especially right now at this time where there's so much conflict in the Wizards Unite community, it would be I think this may be a way to give people something to focus on other than their negative feelings about what's going on. So if we could somehow do that, I think that would be amazing. Personally, I would like to see I think we could get a ton of acts of awareness. Sorry. I thought you had it closed and were pulling your hand in, and then you reached out.
Yeah, I thought I had it.
I think that would be amazing, and it may help in more ways than one. It may help the community feel better about things and bring a positive feeling back to the community, while also getting back to, while also giving back to the world. So I would love it if you guys would share that and join in. So we are home. The nice thing, it looks like we are not having a lot of lag. I don't know what happened. It looks like the game itself is behaving a lot more today than yesterday. I know a lot of people were having game problems yesterday. I had problems throughout the day, all day yesterday, starting earlier in the morning. So I don't know if that was Niantic, if Niantic had pushed an update that didn't work or what happened. But it does appear that has been resolved. I have not seen the issues today that I was seeing yesterday. I can't say for sure, because once I'd collected something, it would behave and I wouldn't get the lag. So with that one, but then I would with other things. So I don't know. It was almost as though there were assets to download, but there weren't assets to download. So I don't know there. Hopefully things start to look better. And hopefully we can become once again the community that everyone knows and loves, and why we've always said Niantic is more than a game. Maybe a reminder that Niantic is more than a game. It's a community of people who care about each other and care about the world, and maybe having something positive to bring us together. Yes, in relation to the game, but also to remind us of exactly why we loved the game in the first place. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't that it didn't have bugs. It was the people and that sense of community and the sense of belonging and helping each other out that was so important. One way, or I've got some other ideas on things that we might be able to do, but I need to talk to people about them and whatever. But one thing I think that would help everyone to remember is we're all down already because of everything going on in the world. And we're all ultra sensitive right now because of that. So people are feeling discouraged about things that may not have discouraged them a few weeks, even a month or two ago. And so it will be interesting to see what happens in those regards. So I'm home. I've got some stuff to do at home for my other channel and raising awareness and whatever else. So I'm going to go work on that. But hopefully things can return to normal-ish, like a new normal, but normal soon. and people can be happy and remember what this game is all about. And it's bringing people together. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.